Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new around these parts. Welcome to my 2026 yearly bullet journal setup. My bullet journal is, of course, from Archer and Olive. I've used them for a few years now, but this is the second year in a row that I've used them. I really like, obviously, the designs, the beautiful foil on the inside. How many pages there are is a great plus as well, because I've used one in the past that was an amazing bullet journal, but it had not quite enough pages for the whole year, and this one has plenty, but it has 2 bookmarks, a place for your pen, and the cover of this one is gorgeous. I'm pretty sure it was called the Songbird collection or something like that, and I'm not 100% sure if they still make this one or not, because I did buy it several months ago. When I saw it, I said, this is my bullet journal, I'm just going to go ahead and buy it now, and I kept it in a drawer for many months. So I'm sorry if they no longer have it for sale, but it's gorgeous and I had to have it. But this year for 2026, we are going with kind of a scrapbook theme. We're using a lot of different papers and ripping them up and really making it cute with a scrapbook kind of theme. We're not going in hardcore with any designs or illustrations, so sometimes I think that's nice, especially if you want to try and recreate this or do something similar. Not every bullet journal has to be super heavy artistic or, with intricate paintings and designs. And mine will definitely have those throughout the year, but especially for the yearly setup, I like it to be kind of neat and uniform and simple for me, but still definitely eye-catching. And you can tell that the colors of choice are lots of different shades of brown. Brown is just that color for me right now. I am obsessed with anything brown. I just got a new comforter for Christmas that's brown. I got some brown sweatpants. I think it's just very chic and elegant, and I'm sure in a few years I'll look back at this and be like, I'm over brown, because that's just how trends work. But I think it looks gorgeous. I even painted my nails brown for this video because that's how excited I was for it. But I'm going in with just a Crayola Supertips marker right now and drawing out 2026 in this really pretty cursive font, almost like a ribbon, because I almost decided to do some sort of bows with this, but decided against it. So that was my cover page, very simple. I took the scrapbook paper and put it over the entire background. But moving on to the next page, the thing I'm working on now that you saw me writing is a letter to my future self. And I've seen a couple other people do this, so credit where credit is due. I'm sure a lot of people do this, but I wanted to write it's not anything intricate, just a nice short letter to my future self that I can read in a year from now and just see where I was at this time and see how things turned out in a year. But here I am signing it from my past self to my future self, putting it in this envelope, and it was actually quite a struggle to put it in this envelope. I thought I cut it perfectly to size, but off camera I did have to trim down the letter itself, and even then it was a tight squeeze in there. But with some editing, it made it seem like it went in very smoothly. But so this is just a letter to myself. And then over to the left is where I'm going to write my goals for 2026, which I have a couple of ideas in mind, obviously, of things that I would like to achieve, or just things to get better at, not necessarily change my whole life, because I like my life, but just have a different positive mindset about things. But flipping over, this is going to be my year at a glance page. This is just a helpful reference page. It's something I will always include in my yearly setup, just as a nice reference, which I can reference the calendar on my phone, of course, but this is just a little more fun. That way when I'm making my calendar, I can go back and see where the day is supposed to start, how many days, etc., etc. But even though we know that I'm going to mess up, because that is what I do with days and weeks. I always mess them up, but going in with the headers, I'm using these lovely stamps that I got from Amazon. And speaking of mistakes, here I am writing out June twice. So apparently June's going to happen twice in my year of 2026. No, I'll go back and cover that up really easily with just some white paper and do it all again and put July. But, I make mistakes, and that's part of what makes my channel fun. I will continue to make the mistakes, but just going back in with literally a ballpoint pen that I found around my house, I need to get new fine liners because I have none as of right now. But you know what? This little pen did the trick, and I'm writing in every day of each month, and I cannot tell you how many times I said the little rhyme to keep up with how many days are in a month. I kept saying 30 days are in September, April, June, and November, like over and over again, but I think I got it right, so we're good there. But again, we're keeping it pretty simple. I've taken the brown polka dot scrapbook page and literally ripped it up and put it down in the center, and then I'm going to take little pieces of white paper and put a year at a glance as for the title page. So super simple but super cute. I love using these stamps for things. I'm definitely going to try to use them more. But here I am writing out a year at a glance, and I'm about to go in and stamp in July because June does not in fact happen twice in a year. But I typically keep my spreads very simple, just things that I'm actually going to use on the daily. There have been times where I've tried to write down shows and books and things, and I do keep up with my books on Goodreads, but I'm just someone who's not going to keep up with that, and I know myself, so I'd rather not put something in my bullet journal that I'm not going to use. I'd rather use something that I am going to use. But this is a new spread for me that I've never done. I was gifted a Polaroid camera for Christmas this year, and I've always thought about getting one, but I've never gotten one for myself, and so getting it as a gift was very exciting. So I decided to do the famous a year in Polaroids, so hopefully I'll keep up with that. But you can see that I had a placeholder with my pets to know the sizes. But that is it for my 2026 bullet journal. As always, thank you guys so much for being here, and I will see you in the next one.